This is her at the end with her husband. Okay. Okay, that's very fine. Let's see. I started to tell you. Let me do another day, but you know what? We have been pressing, and I said, let me go on.
I know you were very busy, but I'm so happy I could snatch you. Have you the charm?
Yes, ma'am.
I know you've been working on this a long time.
Well, I hadn't, you know the funny thing about it, I hadn't worked on this portion of it. But, yes, Spirit.
Well, in terms of trying to round your family up.
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
be reporting to the planning committee. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. You want me to just smile?
Okay. One more time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know how it is, and everybody has a schedule, so
It's not,
you
yeah.
have to deal with that too.
And then some people don't see the importance. They don't see that difference. Okay, now, where was she from? She was from this Mary E. Yeah, she's from that tribe. I know they're not very good. That's all they had. Okay. What's your name?
My name is Edna Harris, or Trina. You can call me Trina.
Trina.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you related? You said Harris?
Harris.
Harris,
That's
okay.
Harris, not the son I'm getting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Harris, all right, good to see you. Are you here in the Jackson State in the media program?
No, ma'am. I'm just helping out with the Kellogg program.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Well, I'm Lessie Hayes. I'm an alumni of Jackson State. I'm talking to say alma mater. I'm an alumni of Jackson
You got
State.
so many hats.
Yes, I do. So I'm trying to, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I think I just, oh, here it is.
So when you get ready,
Yes, ma'am.
maybe just trying to organize myself.
Yeah, okay. So I have where she was from. And I didn't know if you wanted to, my cousin is Marianne Hudson, who knows a little bit more. So you just talk to me about this and then we can, I don't know at what point we can,
Yes, after the interview,
I'm gonna call her.
I will do transcription. I will transcribe, type up everything you said here that I'm right, and I will send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll know what has been said and where to go from there.
Okay, did you want, but
As soon as you get ready.
okay. Okay, I guess I'm as ready as
You're ready, Dr. Hayes.
Okay.
You
all right.
know you're always organized.
I'm trying to be.
You're ready.
Okay, go ahead. I may not be able to answer these questions, but go ahead.
You can start.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Janice Neal Vincent, oral historian for Scott Ford Houses Incorporated and W.K. Kellogg. I have with me today Dr. Lessie Hayes, who is my interviewee regarding this particular project on Mississippi Granny Midwives. It is now June the 1st, 2021. Dr. Hayes, can you tell me the time period when you knew of a granny midwife who worked with you and or your relatives? Specifically, with whom did she work?
Thank you, Dr. Vincent, for this opportunity to talk about the granny midwife in our family. As far as I know of and the information that I've received, she worked with some of our family members and the community in Jeff Davidson County. That is near Prentiss, Mississippi, in southern Mississippi. The time period in which she actually was working, that I'm not very, very sure of, but I do know that it had to be after the 1920s because she's listed in the family census of 1920. They were in Beat 5 of Walthall County, and so she was still listed with her siblings at that time. So it had to be sometime after that, the 1920s.
Okay. I see that you've done your research among the family members.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. So, the community or the county
Yes, ma'am.
in which she lived, you said it was Jeff Davidson County
Yes, ma'am.
in
But
Prentice?
in Prentice, Mississippi, yes.
Mhm.
It was in Jeff Davidson County and also some of the surrounding counties too, because here they're in Walthall County. That's the county. That's another county that's next to Jeff Davidson County. And then I don't know that if she did any work in Covington, but I do know. Okay, we're talking about the 1920 census here, but past there was another county where she was involved with too. So.
Okay. And what was the name of the community? Did the community have a name?
If it did, I don't have that
Don't have it.
information.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What was racism like? Were there racial relations within this particular county?
When you say race relations,
Black and white.
black and white, were they getting along or were they not getting along?
That's what I want you to say. Let me know. What were they like? Was there a mixture of those things? I know that different personalities come with something.
Right.
And so, did she experience racism in any kind of way?
In any type of way. I would say that she did. Now, of course, I wasn't living in that time, so I have to go by what I was told, by the stories of the family and all. But I would say that she did experience racism because I remember, and I'm one of the people who are one of the later historians in our family, and I'm doing the family history, and I have a family chart here and all. And I was told that she would let people know, as far as her help was concerned, that she was there to help them. And it wasn't anything that the county sent her to do or anything. She was there to help people who could not afford to go to the hospitals at that time. And I do know of one of my living relatives. At this time, I contacted her right prior to our interview. It was supposed to be that she was the last in her family that Adeline Adams delivered. And I asked her, would she please look on her birth certificate to see if she was listed? And she said she would.
Okay.
But her sister, whom we're going to call and talk to, she'll probably mention this too, told their mom at that time this was the last one that you can have at home. For whatever reason, the mother was having difficulties, something about the back. And so she was saying that the Adeline Adams, that's the midwife's name, advised her not to have another child at home after that child.
Okay. And at that time, about how many children had been delivered within your family?
Within that, in my cousin's family, let's see, that would have been, I don't know the answer to that, but when we talk to her, we can ask her, because she is one of the siblings, so she would know.
And you say that the granny midwife's name was Adeline?
You spell it Adline.
Adline?
Adline.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you, there's really two spellings, and we're not really sure exactly which way, but the way the families always said it was Adeline.
Okay,
So-
because that's how I was writing it.
A-D-A, yeah.
With phonetics.
Yes,
okay.
A-D-A-L-I-N-E, but in the census is spelled A-D, or in the family history, I'm sorry, A-D-L-I-N.
Okay.
I would go with the A-D-A.
Okay, that's good.
Yes,
Good to know.
It is. Yes.
Was she a member? Yes, she was a member of your family. How old was she? Do you recall any of that?
How old was
she during the... Yes, how old was she? How old was she when she was practicing midwifery?
Okay, let's see here.
She was born when?
She was born in 1884.
Okay.
Okay, we might can figure it out. She was born in 1884.
Mhm.
She married at the age of 21.
Mhm.
She had no schooling.
Okay.
At that time, she lived in B2 Marion County, Mississippi, which I'm not sure which city that is. I want to say Columbus
Okay.
or somewhere like
And
that.
she passed when?
Oh, that part of it,
You don't know that right now?
I don't have that right. I have it somewhere, but I don't have it right off. I don't have it
Okay.
right.
Did she practice catching babies beyond the family members?
Yes, she
Okay.
practiced within the community.
Okay.
Yes, I do know that part.
Do you know roughly about how many babies overall?
I don't, but the cousin that we're going to talk to, she may. I don't
Okay,
know.
okay. And where is this cousin living?
The cousin is living in, where her home is in Prentice.
Okay.
Her home is in Prentice, yes. Mhm.
Did the midwife catch white babies as well?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did she catch babies outside of the medical clinics and hospitals?
Because the family members weren't able or were not able to afford medical attention at that time. The hospitals, that being rural Mississippi, blacks were not allowed to go to the hospitals that were available at that time. And I'm not even sure, that's something good to research to see which hospitals were available, but they weren't allowed to go. So in our family, I can say this, tracing all the way back to the slave Riley, he was taught, he came through, he was a slave under a doctor. So they learned, what is it when you, that medicine that's where you, herbal medicines.
Mhm.
So they learned how to do the herbs. So that passed down through the family.
Okay.
And so I'm sure that helped steer Adeline to say, we can do this, and I feel assured by that, by doing the other family research, that's what led her.
Okay. So the herbs were passed down. What did you say the gentleman's name was?
The gentleman, Riley Buckley was
And what happened to Riley Buckley?
well,
Did he pass the legacy down?
I feel like he did, because my great-grandfather was Hardy Buckley, and he knew how to use the herbs.
Okay.
And so I felt like Riley, coming through the family of the doctor that he was under, because he was given to the daughter, but that they passed that information down.
Okay, okay. Was the midwife, according to your knowledge, refused opportunities to catch babies in medical clinics and or hospitals?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Did racism interfere with the midwife catching babies?
I'm sure it did in those days, because we have to look at what was happening in society. It's not a lot. When a group of people in society want to be the first and best group, of course they don't want the other group to populate and have more babies. Of course they want to annihilate them, push them back. We've always been, as a race, pushed back and not wanting to bring forth, so I'm sure she faced that.
Okay. Well, did she talk about medical doctors or nurses who discriminated against her?
Well, we'll have to ask some of the older cousins, because I definitely wouldn't know.
Okay, okay. That's good enough.
Yes, ma'am.
Find them before they go.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Did medical doctors prevent mothers from having children? The black mothers, you said that she delivered among the blacks. So did they prevent the mothers
interesting question. I don't know that, the way I look at that question is the saying, did the doctors prevent that? You know, I wouldn't say per se it was only the doctors. I say it was the system. The entire system may have prevented black families, black mothers from going to the hospitals, because you have to look at the times that they were living in and how they came through the times. If you weren't allowed to go and seek medical attention, and definitely you're not going to feel like you're welcome at their facilities. And I think that some people did try to go to the facilities. I know my family's, they're bold, and so they probably did try to go to some of the facilities, and they may have been turned around. But if we can say, if we want to be fair about it, was it just the doctors? I wouldn't say it was just the doctors. I say it may have been the doctors and the entire system.
Okay, the system.
Yes, ma'am.
Did the midwife have a certificate?
That was something that we've been looking for, to see if she had a certificate. Now, when I did the research of looking for her in the census, they didn't mention that she was a midwife. They definitely mentioned that she was a farmer. Okay, that she, at the age of 45, she was an operator of a farm. They mentioned that she actually adopted a couple of, I guess you could say family members, maybe the mom had passed away or something, and she did adopt kids. But I have not found a certificate just yet.
Okay. And so based on those findings, you probably have not learned anything about her being certified by the county.
Right, I
Okay.
have not.
How was the midwife compensated for catching babies?
Right. I'm glad that you asked that question, because it's very interesting. I do know the answer to that one. She was compensated by well, now, of course, some people were able to pay money.
Okay.
The amount, I asked the one lady that actually knew that, and she could not remember the amount at the time. But if they did not have the money to pay her, by it being a farming community, she was paid through crops. She was paid through potatoes and onion and peas, and any crop that they grew. They made sure that she was well supplied. Miss Adeline Adams, as far as I understood, fed the neighborhood, out of her abundance wealth from doing what she was doing. She collected food, and I, from the history, understand that they like to have a few barbecues down by the riverside.
Okay.
And she was part of making sure that there was plenty of food. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So it doesn't seem from what you're saying here that she was suffering for anything among the community.
I don't think that she was truly suffering. I don't think so. But what I did find out is that at her funeral, there was talk that some of the people, maybe it had been right before her funeral, before she passed, that there were talk that some people still owed her for the deliveries. They had not paid her, and she was a forgiving person, I imagine. But there were people who still owed her even upon her death.
Okay. Interesting. Was she forced into retirement? I remember you said that she did not receive formal educational training, but was she forced into retirement in terms of what she did do as a midwife?
I'm not sure if she was forced into retirement. That's a good question. I'm not sure about that.
Okay. What were the family relations like with her? You
Yes.
seem to be talking so fondly of her.
Yeah.
So what was she like? I mean, did she make and bake biscuits? Did she pinch off the biscuits and give some to the children? What was she like as a person, despite being a midwife?
Yes, ma'am. My understanding from the research of Adeline Adams that she was a family person. She loved her family. She loved cooking. She herself was from I'll say a mid-sized family. When you look in the 1920 census, she's listed with, let's see, 5 other siblings, and I felt, and there were others past there as well. Her mom was originally a Buckley, and I think she married an Outing and then married a Reagan or something like that. The Adams is from Adeline, actually marrying a man by the name of Adams. And so getting back to your question that you originally asked me, she was a family lady. She loved the community. She loved her church work. And of course, she loved all the babies. And that's what we do have now. I was trying to identify what baby this was she was holding, but she's actually holding one of the babies that she birthed here. And we don't know which one it was. But she was kind of like the community babysitter as well. I understand that when they had to come to Jackson, sometimes they would have to come for commodities and whatever, things that didn't have in that area, that she was the one that everybody would drop the babies off with. So she was like a community babysitter too.
It's very good. Yeah, that one is well rested there on her knee.
Sure is. Kind of comfortable looking at like,
Do you recall any contributions she made within the family? I think you talked about this, and or community beyond catching babies. So can you say more here from number 17, question 17, in terms of her going beyond the family? And I know you mentioned that the members of the community would leave the babies with her when they would go away. Was there something else that may have happened there? Did she read to the children? Did she sing with the children? Sometimes there are different games that the adults play. And they invent them along the way based on the personalities of the children and their own personalities.
Right. Now, that's interesting because I need to ask my family members, because a majority of the family could sing. A lot of them could sing. I'm not sure that did she sing to the children or not. That part I don't know, but the cousin that we're going to call, maybe she may know or may have heard. But as far as working with them and her contribution, I want to say that I do know she gave quite a bit of contribution to her church. So she was an active church member. I don't know what all they did in those days, but I know when I would go back home to the family reunions and all, we would meet in the little church grounds. And of course, we had some very good cooks in our family. So I'm sure, I'm positive, cousin Adeline was one who contributed to the cooking in the family. Now, one of the things I do remember a cousin saying that happened one time was she was a bold individual in her things that she did for her church. You know how the men would get in front of the church, and what is that thing called when they pray? They say the prayer right before the service. I can't think of the name of it right now, but in a lot of the black churches, the Black Baptist churches, it's like the hymns and stuff that they did before, the moans and stuff. The men would pray. Well, say Adeline would jump down and real quick. That was uncommon for a woman to jump down in line with the 2 or 3 men praying. They say Adeline would jump down, oh Father, and say she was a very praying woman. She was a praying woman, and it didn't bother her that they didn't invite her there. She did it anyway. That's my understanding. It made me laugh.
The protocol, she just did what
she thought was right.
Yes, ma'am. How many babies did she catch in the family?
I have no idea of that. I've been trying to find out. Yeah, as far as what I've found out so far, I can say 1, 2. This is a poor number, but I know she caught more than. I've heard of 5, but I know she caught more than that.
So at least 5.
At least who, the lady, we're gonna talk to her two siblings prior to her, or she said she wasn't caught by Adeline, but two of her siblings were caught. And I did contact one of them and ask her to look on her birth certificate to see if her name was mentioned. And she said she would and get back with me.
Okay, that is just really remarkable. She was an outstanding person.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did she have any assistance during these 5 births?
Oh,
Did
okay.
anybody help her? Sometimes a
Right.
person in the family might have been boiling water. Someone else might have been calming the mother, fanning her, whatever,
Yes,
during
ma'am.
the process. Someone may have been transporting her to go in and out to the different persons within the neighborhood, if that was so.
Right.
So, what kind of assistance, if any, did she have?
You know, I'm going to speculate here, and I have to say speculate
Okay.
because I don't have concrete evidence, and sometimes I'm going by just what I have actually heard, and it might be on that interview that I have recorded. But I feel like she did have some assistance because her, I'm trying to think of which one it was. Isabella was her sister, and I think Isabella helped Adeline sometimes, and because they were a close-knit family. So being a close-knit family, I don't see that her sister would not have possibly helped her doing some of this.
Did they live in the same house?
At one time they did, until
Okay.
she got married to Will Stanley.
Okay.
Adams, until she got married to the Adams man.
Okay. Do you have a story about a black doctor within the community?
Black doctor? Within our family? Or
Within
that
community
community?
in which the family lived
Oh,
at the time that Adeline was living?
black doctor.
Do you recall family members talking about a black doctor in terms of systemic racism, which is why the black doctor was in the neighborhood?
Right. I don't recall
Okay.
that. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There could have been one, but I don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Adeline spend time with any of the children she caused?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Was she around them during their growing years?
Yes, ma'am. She was.
Okay.
She was.
So what did she do with them
Babysit.
as they were growing up?
Oh, as they were growing up. I don't know. Now, well, let's go back. You have to go back to what type of community it was. Remember, it was a farming community.
Okay.
And so what I understand is if you were a child during that time, you went to school to a certain age. And then after that, when you became of age to pick crops, then to help the families, to help your family, you were sent to the fields to pick crops. Now, I understand that our family was all about education, so therefore they wanted the children to go to school to a certain point, but then you also had to work. So you had to either work the fields, work the house, or work the land around the house. And so I'm sure that cousin Adeline, she was one of those that helped, guide the children into how to, pick the peas and show them possibly how to carry there had to be there's a bin type thing. I seen the old bins, and then we have people who weave baskets in our family, so they made the baskets for those peas and things. So I'm sure she taught the children how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I understood she's carried that little switch too. She kept them in line.
Okay. Taught them how to spank their
Behave.
legs.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
She wasn't.
How did the children interact with her?
Well, as far as I know of, and what I've heard, they liked her. They
Okay.
did. They liked her a lot. As a matter of fact, sometimes when you're short and you're close to their size, they kind of associate with you a little bit. And she was a short lady. She wasn't a very
Okay.
tall lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was one of those stern ones that was like, okay, you're not gonna get out of line.
Yes. Can you provide names and contact information of the children who interacted with the
No,
midwife?
ma'am, I cannot. I only have the one that I told you. We're going to talk to her sister shortly, and her name was Rachel. Her name is Rachel Pittman now, and she's looking to see if cousin Adeline is listed on her birth certificate.
Okay.
Right. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Did she talk about medical doctors or nurses who discriminated against her?
I have no idea about that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did medical doctors prevent mothers from having children at the hospitals?
You know, that question is very similar to a question that you had asked earlier, and that, like I said, I related it to the entire system and not just the doctors.
Okay.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was she a community leader or doctor within the community? You said you didn't know about any black doctor. So was she in some capacities a doctor in terms of herbs? Did she use herbs in any kind of way? How did she use the herbs?
Now, I know I would think that she did use the herbs. Now I don't know about quote unquote naming her as a doctor,
Okay.
but I can say that because our family, that history was passed down on how to use the herbs, I feel assured that she did. I was not there, but I feel assured that she used the herbs in ways like boiling the teas.
Mm-hmm.
They boiled the teas. There were certain leaves and all. They may have had you to sniff. You know, you would put it up on your nose, or put it if you had a skin rash. There were certain leaves and herbs that you put on the skin. I mean, put the leaves on the rash, and it would help. So I'm sure those are the ways in which she would use some of the herbs, because that information was passed down in our family.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was she, well, you've answered this, active in the community or church. What stands out most in your mind about Adeline?
What stands out most in my mind is that everybody knew her name. Everybody knew her name.
Okay.
It was like you couldn't say Adeline Adams and then say, oh yeah, the midwife Adeline Adams, you know. And I was like, this lady had to be more than life in her community. Because a lot of the times, it takes a lot for someone to know your name. So that means that you've been around, you've been doing some things, and like I said, a bold individual. So that was what stood out to me.
Okay.
You can mention Adeline Adams, and people, even in the family, outside the family, will like, oh yeah, she's from that Buckley tribe. Because her mom was originally a Buckley. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Were there other granny midwives within your family?
Directly in the family, I don't know, but I know within the community there were, but I don't know directly in the family. This is the only one that I know that was directly. Mm-hmm.
Do you know the names of the ones who were in the community?
I did write a name down real quick for you, right before I came. Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, no, I take that back. She moved up to Hinds County. Her name was Rachel Smith. That was one of the other midwives that moved. She was there, but she came and she practiced in Hinds County.
Okay, she practiced.
Mm-hmm. So there are others, but I don't have the names. I was hoping that my cousin would provide those names to us.
Well, maybe as you talk about what happened in this interview,
Okay.
he might get excited
I hope so.
and come aboard.
Yes, ma'am.
Did males play a role? Did they play a role? Did they transport, for instance, Adeline to the sites to deliver?
Right.
Did they help her with logging or something like that? Anything on the land? What were they like?
Well, the one story that I did hear about is that they made sure that the fire heat the water up to help with, you know, I
Okay.
guess the hot towels and whatever she needed for the birthing
Okay.
situation. And they could have been the watch out person outside, making sure, okay,
Yeah.
no, you can't go in because this is
Okay.
going on right now.
Okay.
Interesting question.
Yes. Have you shared your story with children within your family?
I have not, and you have brought it to our light that we should share this story. You know, what people thought about was, oh, we didn't think this was important. I mean, that's literally was said. Oh, we didn't think that they wanted to know much about it, you know. So this is great that this brings a lot of light to something that people didn't think about to bring light to.
And so I have something to help them think.
Yes, ma'am.
Once this is over. Do you have any, yes, you have some artifacts, and so,
Just a few.
yes, we're so grateful that you brought those along. And there is a donor form that I will need to mail you. I'll need to get that donor form since you do have some artifacts. You want to call your relative?
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now say something, Rachel. I mean, not Rachel. I mean, Marianne. Marianne.
Yes.
Okay, let me find something. I see something. All right, one moment.
Hello, Marianne?
Yes, this is Mary Ann.
Yes, this is the interviewer, Dr. Neal Vincent. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Wonderful. We are just enjoying these great responses that Dr. Hayes has given here. And I'm wondering, what is it that you can tell me about Adeline within your family, the Mississippi Granny Midwife?
Well, knew her. I was a child at the time, but I know that she came to our house on 2 occasions to deliver two of my siblings. One brother who was born in 1950, I think, because he's 10 years younger than me, and my sister, which would have been 2 years. I guess it would have been 52. So that's basically, what I remember. I do remember her, and I remember her coming to the house twice.
Okay, now when she came, excuse me, and you were a child, what was that like for you? Did you see the baby that she was catching? When did the baby come? How did you know about her delivering the baby? Tell me about that. Were you in the room? Were you outside of the room?
Well, they always put us out, but when my
Okay.
brother was born, yes, they would always, because at first, my mother, they had her there early for my brother, and she wasn't quite ready, because they had to turn the baby
push the baby to the side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't be harmed in any way, I guess, until they got there.
Okay.
Until she got there. So that was with Rachel, because I remember her saying to her, to my daddy, that that should be the last one she should have at home.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That makes me think about what my mother told me. I'm the last of 4 children out of 10, a midwife baby. And my mother would always say, down through the years, she had such a hard time with me. I was born at 4 a.m. And she told my father she was not going to have any more babies at home. And she didn't. All of the others were born in the hospital. Now, with you, in terms of assisting, you said that did you give your mother a gown, or she asked you to give her a gown?
She was already in bed. When we got home from school, she had already done that for herself.
Okay.
And she was in the bed and she was covered, and she had pushed, when the baby was born, she pushed to the side, and she had turned the cover back so they could get air. And she just told me then, what to do, and so I had to go do whatever had to be done for for the other children
Okay.
that were there, and to keep them out of the room. I got them out of the room.
Okay. You got the children out. So did the children, any of the children, see what was happening as the mother was going through? But you protected them from all of that.
I don't think so, but she told me
Okay.
what was happening, and she told me what was going on, and but they didn't see it.
Okay. All right. Can you remember any other granny midwives within your family?
Yes, on the other side of my family, this lady, Adeline, she's on my daddy's side of the family, but my grandmother, my mother's mother, she did that also up in Hines County.
Okay. What was her name?
Her name was Rachel Robinson Smith.
Okay. Tell me about her and what you know about her as a midwife.
Well, basically, I just know that that's what she did. She worked with Dr. Albrecht that was out there, and I don't know, Clinton, Bolton, Raymond, and all of those areas, in that area up there. And she used to deliver babies. And I know that they used to say about her, even the doctor said that about her, that she should really, she could be a nurse or whatever, because she was really good at it. And
Okay.
she would help him out as well. So I guess she delivered a lot of babies of people that were his patients.
Was the doctor white or black?
He's white.
Okay. Did she ever talk about any black doctors within these surroundings? You called out Canton, Raymond, Hines.
No, she didn't. I don't remember that she did. And if she did, maybe I didn't realize that they were, what nationality they were or whatever, as a child, because I was really a child then.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I know there was doctors, I came in contact with the black doctors in Jacksonville, but that was after I was
Okay.
about 18 or 19.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you shared your story with any of the children within your family, wherever they may be? Have you shared it with any of the children? Because we have an essay contest that is going on here, and we have a deadline. We want the children in the elementary, the middle, and the high schools to participate in it based on what the storyteller within the family, like you and Dr. Hayes, would tell them, so that they can learn something about the contributions, if they don't already know, of the Mississippi Granny Midwife, to continue her legacy. elementary age to high school.
Okay, to high school, okay.
Well, I thank you so much for your time, and I'm so glad that Dr. Hayes thought about having you to talk during this interview, because my interview with you has revealed some things that needed to be said here about what was going on within your family, along with what Dr. Hayes has shared, the many things that she has shared.
Oh, well, happy to do
Oh,
it.
there's one other question I want to ask you regarding how she was paid. How was Adeline paid for her delivery services?
Cash, is that what you mean?
She was paid cash?
Yes.
Like how much? 25 cents, $1, 1.50? You know, we're looking at a time period, and back then, 25 cents was a whole lot. Because I remember coming up, bread was 5 cents, you see, and now we cannot get anything for 5 cents worth anything, you see. So,
Right, I know.
tell me about that money.
I know that my dad is paid, but you know, I can't remember the exact amount, but I know it was 25 cents.
Okay?
Probably been more like $20 or something.
Like $20?
20 or $25, something.
Okay. Per child, per baby?
Yes.
Okay. And was she compensated in any other kind of way?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I can't recall.
Well, I thank you again for this. We have to cut this great interview off, but you have revealed a lot of detailed information. And I'm again glad that Dr. Hayes called you so that this could be done. This is, of course, being recorded, video recorded, and it's unfortunate that you could not come and sit here with us. Miss Edna Harris is the videographer, and at some point along the way with this great project, the public will be made aware of this interview. And so I'm happy and want you to have a great day.
Okay, same to you, and thanks so much.
And thank you so much. And God take care.
God bless.
Yes,
All right.
indeed.
And I'll call you later. Okay, bye-bye.
And Dr. Hayes, I'm so happy that you were able to come, finally pause from the productive busy schedule. I know how it is. My eyes need clothespins on them. And so we still have to do what we have to do. But I'm glad you took the time today to come to be with us.
Thank you.
And we do, is that off now?
No, ma'am.